Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 68 of the Xbox Board Gamers podcast. This week, I'm joined by the wonderful producer, Charlotte.
Hi.
And that's it. That's just us.
It's literally just the two of us, though.
Yeah.
It's not because we're like slack at finding guests or anything, you know. Like, it's not,
or because people are avoiding us. Or
I know. Like, do people just not like us? Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, I can understand that, but
yeah, I can get it. I do tell people to not talk to me every week, so.
that is true. That is true. Massively antisocial. This week I was like, it's a bit of a weird one this week. We've got a lot of news, but Xbox wise is kind of like, there's some stuff happening with briefly. I mean, I'll say the Activision.
There is some controversy.
Yes, definitely. The Activision Microsoft merger continues with more shit flagging, with accusations of
why not?
some real accusations of bullying.
Yes. Yeah.
And being unfair.
Oh, so unfair.
We got some updates from the latest Nintendo Direct, some of which are Nintendo specific, but some of which are multi-platform. And we'll probably touch on a little bit of that just because there's some interesting stuff in there. Mostly from my childhood because I feel like being nostalgic.
Yeah.
But we also got some updates from Remedy as well on some on their plans for the next few years, which is exciting because we're both big fans.
Yes.
But first, without any further ado, Charlotte is going to transition us to Song of the Week.
Yes,
Take it away.
I am. Give me 2 seconds because I need to find the download. Okie dokie. Wait, one moment.
The disc.
Technical difficulties. 1 second. Okay. Starting again.
It's gonna come out tonight. The Discord is all hype. Every 2 weeks, we await the call. Checking the channel. I've got it all planned. Gonna try to play them all. But what we'll have to see, planning which ones I gotta beat. The ones I dread are 100+ hour grinds. Time to completion. If you're playing for fun, you ain't gonna play too long. Oh, here it comes. Watch out for those grindy ones. Oh, here it comes. The Game Pass levers. Oh, here it comes. Watch out for those grindy ones. Oh, here it comes. The Game Pass levers.
And that is our Song of the Week for this week.
Woo!
Now,
all right,
the problem is, I don't think we've got many people in chat to guess it this time around, but I know it instantly, like it's not.
Oh, well, that's good.
This was an easy one for me this week.
Yeah, David got it.
Yay! Yeah. Cool, but does he know who sung it?
I would hope so.
It is indeed Maneater.
Mm-hmm. Actually, yeah, it's I'm a big fan of this song and this band or this duo.
This like duo. Like you've done them. You've done these songs for Song of the Week like a number of times now, actually. So
really, I can only think of one.
No, I think this is like the 3rd time, isn't it? Or
really?
have we just talked about doing?
We've definitely talked about it because like they're
It's Hall & Oates.
It is Hall & Oates. Yes, it is Hall & Oates, Maneater. Yeah, because I think I did. I definitely done a Hall & Oates song before. I'm just trying to remember which one it was.
Well, they're not currently listed in our Song of the Week, so.
Rich Girl is the one I did last time.
Yes.
We did last time.
Why are they not listed in our?
Because we haven't done them.
No, but the ones that we have done.
We'll
find them later. That's fine.
Yeah.
There is actually a playlist that anyone can join and like follow along if they want to for Song of the Week with the original songs, not the remixes that Matt or I or Cameron have done. Unfortunately, we would get in trouble for that. This is why we put them on our Patreon. But we do have a Song of the Week public playlist, which is also, there is a link to that in the Discord as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, go check it out. Always happy to add things in there, and if you have any suggestions for song of the week, I'm always open to ideas. I have to come up with stuff all the time, so any help is greatly appreciated. Because Friday Friday when I put the song out on Patreon rolls around very quickly each week.
Yeah, it is definitely Nelly Furtado.
Yes, no, yeah, man, that's that man eater. I did think about doing that one, but I don't quite have the right cadence for it.
Yeah, maybe that's one I can do. I've got a few up my sleeve that I'm going to do soon. I'm just waiting for my voice to come back to normal after COVID, and it's still not quite there.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Oh man.
Right,
as always, as always, this show is live on Twitch, so you can come hang out with us, like David is right now. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. You can come be in the chat, ask us questions, shitpost, talk about Nelly Furtado. Basically whatever you want to do. We greatly appreciate the support. We've got actually no, we do have a question for this week. Actually, our good friend and question asker extraordinaire Isaac has asked us something that took me back into my backlog and my history. He says, "Hey guys, what's the hardest achievement that you were able to get, and what did you have to do to get it? Thanks for taking my question. Maybe you like Kirby and it just popped, even though everyone else thinks it's super hard to get, or maybe it was actually super hard and you pushed yourself to get it. Whatever the case." Isaac. Charlotte, I mean, you've been playing a few bits and pieces around, right?
I sort of, yeah, see, I cycle because I play a bunch of stuff, right? So, but like, yeah, I'm not sure. Like, why don't you go first and I'll have a think about it?
Yeah, so when I read this question, I was kind of thinking about like, okay, what am I like? How do you find out like what a hard game is? Because like, there's a difference between like difficult games and difficult achievements, and there's stuff that like I'm proud of, but also is not like super difficult. David points out that like Elden Ring, some of the bosses in Elden Ring, for example, are really tough. Exactly.
Yeah, would you say they're the hardest achievement that you were able to get though?
Not necessarily. Like because there are a bunch of achievements that I haven't gotten in a lot of games.
Yeah.
Like I like looking at things like those games I'm not very good at. So like fighting games, for example. I've got stuff in Dead or Alive 4 for like beating 100 enemies in a row.
Yeah.
It's like there's like two of those achievements that I'm probably never going to get just because they're just ridiculously outside my skill set.
Yeah.
And most people's skill set, to be fair. And then you've got the kind of like that classic permadeath stuff from like Limbo and even like Dead Space 2 and things like that. Like a lot of those, like I have like one achievement left that's like a real stickler. That's stopping me from getting a completion.
See, I wonder with mine because I'm not too fussy about my games. I did not when I started. So I do have some in my backlog that I'm like, ugh, I don't know if I'm gonna actually get them done. Like, I'll have to just hope that I can. But there's like a couple of games in there that I'm like, I don't know that I will. Like The Messenger, that is a perfect example, right? And the speed runs.
Yeah, that actually, The Messenger is a great fucking example because that DLC achievement. And
I just don't think I'm ever gonna get it.
Like that pushed my abilities and my endurance to the limit. In terms of,
you snapped so many times and had to literally put the game down.
Yeah, that last achievement is absolutely ridiculous.
Like I remember being on a video chat with you when you were doing that at one stage, and you literally just like, I need to go, I need to just stop, and you like literally walked away from the video call and walked away from the Xbox and was just like, I need to leave for a minute.
Yeah.
Like that was on tilt.
Oh yeah, and like I got it eventually, but like it's the reason why I didn't bother doing the stack, because I didn't want to put myself through that again, to be honest. Because it's a really cool game, but because it's sort of Metroidvania mixed with sort of original Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
And it just
like that's one up there that I don't think I'll ever get finished. The other one that I don't know that I will is Mortal Kombat 11. just with the tutorial stuff, I don't think that like I'm not good with the combination stuff, and I saw how hard it was. You were doing with it, but you completed it, so that's really cool.
I did finish it, yeah, but that's definitely the kind of stuff that I get stuck on. So, like, for example, I have like Dead or Alive 5 has an achievement for doing the combo challenge, all of the combo challenges with one character. It's the last thing I need, and I've got it downloaded, and it's real rough.
The other one is Outlast.
Oh shit, yeah, Outlast.
Because of course I started it on stream.
I did warn you.
I said that I would do it. So, and people gave donations for me to do Outlast.
Yeah, Outlast is a rough one. That's one of those games that I'm just like,
I have completed the game, so there's that. Yes. But doing the no death and the no battery and the like battery one, I'm like, fuck. How the hell am I going to do those? I don't the insanity even playthrough know.
Is nuts. So I've tried it a few times, but
I'll see how I go. I want to try and get it because that will be one of my hardest. I don't tend to play very hard games because things that like other people like, this is actually super easy. How are you not getting this? And I'm like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. The other one that I really struggled with, but I got it, was those fucking arcade games. In
the Tourist.
In the Tourist. Yeah. I loved the rest of the game, and I did real well in everything else. And then the car racing one, and then those other two little retro arcade games, I couldn't get. The one that has the bouncing ball, and I was like, I just could not get it. I eventually did it. I literally spent 6 hours just repeating that game until I got them.
Yeah, those mini games suck. I mean, I didn't have too much trouble with the Arkanoid one, the driving one. As we've talked about before, it was the one that really fucked me. But I'm with you. It's like, I hate that kind of stuff when they put a bunch of shit in mini games. Maybe we should have traded.
I should have done the car one for you, and you should have done the other ones for me.
Exactly.
The other tricky one was the little car racing one and the ladybug car racing one.
Oh yes, in Boyfriend Dungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was lucky in that
because of the controls.
It plays like RC Pro Am does, so it's not. Yeah, I was not a fan, but I had seen you do it often.
Yeah, you knew what you learned from my mistakes.
Yeah, I managed to get each of them done first try, but it was.
Yeah, I was really mad about that actually. I was like, "Are you fucking joking me?" Angel, I loved the Tourist as well. I really did. The only two parts were those two retro arcade games, which I was like, because I got the car one and that one I got straight off the bat. Like I literally did it in 2 races and got all of it, like the whole thing done. It was the other two that I really struggled with because I wasn't used to that kind of style of, you had to bounce the ball and get it right in the position. And I've never been good at that style of game. Like I can do the puzzles and things like that, but anytime you try and get me to like actually do anything coordinated, my ADHD brain goes and I can't do it.
Yeah, that's fair. The other one that springs to mind is Perfect Dark Zero with Mike.
How's that going?
I have made basically no progress on that game in terms of single player stuff. But Mike and I went,
But Mike's also completed it now, so you've got a high chance of still doing it if she's done it.
But Mike is very, very dedicated.
She is. She will just stick to it until she gets it. She's one of those gamers where she will literally do the same thing over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
Just till she gets it.
Yeah, so we spent many weeks working on that game together in terms of doing the co-op. I'm really glad that we did because but like I would say, like completing that game on Dark Age and on co-op is probably might be my proudest achievement. I also have a lot of them. I was looking at my list of like a lot of Neverwinter achievements that I'm also very proud of. But it's kind of like that's kind of a weird one because some of those are really grindy, some of them are really difficult, some of them are just very lucky. Like getting all 5 of the +5 Cholt rings, for example, is hugely grindy. But I was lucky. I had a lot of really good support from my guild back in the day, so we got that done. And like moving back through those games and sort of catching up with the current play. I've only got like 5 or so achievements left in that game. if I ever finish the Hallister trial without anyone dying, that will be my proudest achievement forever.
Yeah, because there's going to be ones in that you're not going to be able to get. Like, let's face it, you're going to get locked out soon anyway with the level, right? So
in terms of my gear scaling, I'm already locked out. Like I'm several expansions behind in terms of where I need to be.
Yeah.
And I just don't have the time to put into it anymore. So like I do like the single player content and get like, because they usually put out 2 achievements, one for finishing up the single player content, which is like time based. So you got to do like get like a certain amount of quests each week.
Yeah.
And so I recently
put in your daily anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I always jump on to get my daily key and that kind of stuff. But I did that the other week. Basically, got that achievement for doing the most recent expansions, single player content. And then the dungeon is they've reworked one of the original trials, but I can't get into it. Like I'm way below the level required. And I'm missing about 4 of them. I'm about 4 back that I haven't had a chance to get into.
Yeah.
So I could do those ones and kind of get back into it, which would be really good. But like at this point, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I'll live.
You'll work it out. Like, I mean, it's just going to be one of those ones you just have to like cut your losses.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're already at a stage where like that 100% completion percentage is like.
It's not possible, unfortunately. No. But that's fine.
And now I'm like, there's only one person I know that's going to actually be able to do it, and that is Dio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Longest completion I have has got to be Fortnite Save the World. That isn't hard, it's just long. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I know for a fact that there's Mike, Admiral, and I think it's Kitten are all working on Gears 3. Is it Kitten working on it?
Yeah, it was seriously 3.0. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're getting close.
Yeah.
That is going to be wildly impressive.
Yeah, that's an achievement to end all achievements, really, to be honest.
Yeah. Like, holy shit. That is so many hours involved in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do we have news?
Well, thank you for the question, Isaac. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Isaac.
Let's talk about the news. So, we've a few weeks ago we talked about how the CMA, which is a sort of UK-based authority, were looking into the Activision Blizzard acquisition.
Yeah.
And they basically indicated a few weeks ago that they were going to kind of take a deeper look at it because they're worried about it. So they've basically come out. They've done their phase 2 investigation. The Competition and Market Authority (CMA) has basically said that the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard could harm UK gamers and result in higher prices, fewer choices, or less innovation if it's to be approved. So they basically said that they've raised some concerns about it, about cloud and console gaming, and there's been some sort of talk around looking at market shares and that kind of stuff. We also kind of found out sort of through this that Stadia had less than less than 5% market share in the cloud gaming space. So no fucking wonder they decided to shutter that. So the CMA also talked about, like, they put up a couple of remedies or a couple of ideas of being like, oh, here's some things about where, like, to make it sort of more palatable, including a partial divestiture of Activision Blizzard, basically suggesting selling off parts of the business that handles like Call of Duty, or selling off the Activision part of Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
Which is like, well, I mean, yeah, which basically is, well, to be fair, Microsoft has said that the mobile part is also a big thing for them, like King.
Yeah.
But they've also said that, like, that they're willing to talk and kind of come up with a bit of a solution.
Find some other way
by March 1st, basically. So it'd be very interesting to kind of see what happens with that,
especially throughout the year. Like,
yeah, because I mean, I remember when when it first got announced, we were like, yeah, this is just going to go through. Like, they wouldn't spend all this money.
And how long has it been now? Like,
been like 9-10 months or so. I think it's supposed to be basically done and dusted by June. I don't think that's gonna. I don't think they're gonna hit that milestone.
No, I don't think so at all.
So
Not if
yeah,
this
it'll
is
be.
still going until March, and then I think it's just going to be roadblock after roadblock. To be honest, at what point do you just be like, eh?
Yeah.
But then,
And
in
also,
that saying that, what then happens to Blizzard, Activision, and King? Because they kind
good
of
question.
need this, right? Like,
Yeah.
they need this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I'm sure there were a lot of stuff that they're working on is banking on this kind of investment, right?
Yeah.
Um, so like, I don't necessarily think this is going to impact, Diablo 4
No, but
but like future stuff.
yeah,
Um,
it's just interesting to see where it's going to go.
and as David points out, yeah, Bobby Kotick basically came out, the CEO of Activision Blizzard basically came out and said that Sony's basically been lying to you guys and basically bullying.
Yeah.
Which,
because was there another news article saying that like Sony have pulled out of it?
yeah, I'll say it says Sony's accused Microsoft of obvious harassment in their latest FTC court filing, basically. So basically, Bobby Kotick had accused Sony of trying to sabotage this, which officially, of course, they're not doing that. But
no,
come
officially
on,
not.
like,
They totally are.
They have been super against it from the beginning.
Yeah, like they've literally been doing everything they could to stop this from the beginning.
Yeah. And so when Sony's basically filed a suit, and accused them of obvious harassment through the FTC. And so the way they sort of define this is that, as part of the sort of litigation that's going on about this over this acquisition, the Xbox makers basically requesting access to a bunch of like stuff in terms of like internal data to prove their points.
Yeah.
And Sony to help it make its case. Like demanding like performance reviews for leadership, things that like might be, probably on the edge of like what's actually acceptable and look up what's like relevant to the case.
Yeah. It's like,
so like,
point are you like, how invasive is this getting?
Right, because I guess the thing is that like, like to some extent, if Sony are, basically, or if they're opposing this acquisition, and they're basically, the courts need to decide this kind of thing, they need to be able to see all the facts, right? So I feel like Microsoft is well within their rights to be like, well, we need your data on this to prove these points. But Sony's pointed out that like even in employment cases, courts require like a specific showing of relevance, before giving over kind of like personnel files, which they say that Microsoft basically has. Microsoft hasn't proven that the stuff that they need is actually relevant to the case. And so, I mean, this is just dick waving, like we've talked about before, right?
Like they're just literally doing it. Like it's just ongoing.
Yeah,
it's kind of getting to a point where it's like, like I really just can't be bothered listening to it anymore. I mean, to sort this shit out, but I know it's not going to be that easy.
Yeah, I mean, this is a shit fight between a bunch of big fucking faceless corporations who don't give a shit about us, so I don't want to get too invested, right? And to be honest, like, it doesn't actually really matter for us all that much when it comes down to it.
As long as we still get games, it doesn't really matter to us at all, right? Like,
yeah. Like I'm not hugely invested in Microsoft's. I mean, like, it'd be great if Microsoft had some continued success because it's the platform that I use and I'd like it to stick around. But competition is good for the business. And like, maybe this merger doesn't work out,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe just it falls and one of the parties has to pay out a bunch of money to the other one for the sort of wasted time and.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? Like, what happens at the end if this all falls through? Microsoft are going to be like, Sony, you fucked this.
Yeah. And then they're going to
100%. And then it's going to be a shit fight over
who's at fault, basically, and who has to pay the other for this. Because I think there was like something like $1 billion or something. I think we talked about it a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Which 100%,
there isn't really.
You look at it and it's Sony.
Sony are definitely and no bones about it. Like they definitely don't want this to happen, right? Because this is a big threat to their competition.
Of course they don't. Yeah, like that makes perfect sense. But some of their stuff that they're doing is kind of like,
yeah,
it's just proving that in law. So
yeah, so I mean, good luck, right? That's the only ones that are really gonna come out winners here are the lawyers.
Yeah.
As always. All right. We've also got a little bit of a story here about Remedy. For those who don't know, Remedy are the makers of some of our favorite video games like Control, Alan Wake, and the original 2 Max Payne games, which are the best ones. So they've put out a financial report. Their CEO has basically revealed that they've got some big future plans for the next few years. So they're basically planning on, again, and for context, for those who don't know, Remedy tend to take quite a long time with their games.
They do.
It was a big chunk of time between Alan Wake and then what was it, Quantum Break, and then Control. They spent a long time with those games. Control is fucking fantastic.
It's amazing.
And so they basically said that they're planning on putting out a new game every year for the next few years, starting this year, basically.
Really, so they're basically doing it yearly.
Yeah. They also talked about how the Alan Wake remastered game that they put out, which I played, was really good.
Yeah.
Didn't generate the sort of sales that they were hoping for, but they're hoping that them reminding people of the genre of the game and stuff will help boost the release of the second game.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I hope so. I mean, like, if I was going to play Alan Wake 2, I probably would have gone back and looked at 1, or at least read the plot synopsis. So getting a chance to replay it.
Yeah.
So, and like I talked about a few months ago when I played it, still a great game. Definitely highly recommended. And now it's a lot easier to play.
Yeah, it's on my list of games to play. Among other things, like I have so many games that I need to play. It's like an ongoing battle, right?
Yeah. It just keep piling them on the backlog. But yeah, so Alan Wake 2 is looking to come out this year, apparently, with all the delays and the way the world works. I'm not sure if that will be the case, but that's their plan, apparently.
We can cross our fingers.
And also Control 2, which they announced last year,
yes.
They're kind of working on at the moment. And they're kind of past, they're in the kind of proof of concept phase. So probably still a little bit out. So I don't think it would be next year. It might be the year after. So we won't be looking like a 2025. But Remedy's also working on like a new service-based game, which again is still kind of in that proof of concept phase, but I imagine might come out a little bit earlier.
Okay. Do we know like anything about it at all?
Not really. It's codenamed Condor. And so like, live service game. We don't know if it might be in that sort of Control universe. Maybe it'll be
Condor.
Some kind of superpower. Like some sort of superpower multiplayer game might be cool. Like I'd be really curious to see there. They've also got another game in the works called Vanguard, which again is sort of in that same sort of phase. But they basically said that it was planning on, like, that was one of the ones they were planning on really pushing, but they've kind of delayed it a little bit. Because they basically haven't expanded the team enough to basically cover all the stuff that's going to require. So it might be a bit delayed. So this one might take a while. But they've hired some new people, and then they've also got Max Payne 1 and 2 remasters or remakes.
Oh,
actually,
you're
I should
so
say.
excited for that.
I mean,
You actually are, but like, you know,
remaking them, I think, is probably going to be is definitely the way to go about it. I mean, I love those games originally. They have that kind of dumb enemy Matrix style, running to a building, guns akimbo, shooting the shit out of things. Like, they're fucking cool games. Are
you ready to go through the pain again?
Well, I mean, we'll see.
Would you play them is my question.
If it's the first, they're remaking the first two, which I'm like, those games are like PlayStation 2 games, so there's a lot of work that they'll need to do to bring those into the 21st century, right? Like, but yeah, like, you know, I think that it would be like, you know, like, this would be a really good Game Pass game. I don't know if they're probably not going to do a multiplayer, so it'll probably be single player only. But yeah, like I think it's a great opportunity for them to kind of bring it back because they haven't done a Max Payne game in a long time. Rockstar did the third game, and that was back at the 360 generation, so we haven't seen anything about it for a very long time. So yeah, there isn't really too much more to talk about because it's just kind of like announcements of their kind of plans. But a new game every year for the next few it looks like maybe 4 years. I'm really curious to see kind of what that takes shape with when these kind of stuff gets shuffled around, how accurate it is, if they're talking about these projects, they must be relatively certain that these things are going to happen at some stage. But who knows? This might be a case of us hearing about this on a financial call and then it quietly getting shuttered and we never hear anything ever again.
I mean, how often has that happened?
Yeah. Well, more times than we could probably count.
Yep.
But I am very excited. And I'm probably going to play most of these games, to be honest, or at least give them a try. I'm not a big live service game guy, but hey.
Yeah, I don't tend to play many live service ones at all. Yeah. If I can avoid them, like I will. Yeah.
And we're going to take a little bit of a tangent here and talk about Nintendo Direct, which I know it's not the usual fare for this show. There are a few crossover things and a few other games in there that I'm interested in that I want to talk about just for stuff.
We just want to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. And some of the stuff has been confirmed to be coming to multiple consoles, including the Xbox. So, but this is we finally got into, like, I'm looking at there's a lot of remasters and remakes in here and stuff. We finally gotten to the stage where I'm hitting stuff that I'm nostalgic for. Which we were kind of in that phase, but now we're kind of hitting like that sort of GameCube era, DS era stuff, being brought over. That I'm like, that's great. I want to play that again. I remember that from 15 years ago. Or well, actually, probably closer to 20 years ago at this point. Christ. Nintendo had a bit of a surprise direct. And they had quite a few announcements. The big one, as David is pointing out in the chat, is that they're remastering the original Metroid Prime, which is it's the second remaster because they did do a remaster for the Wii, but that was a long time ago. And it's coming out to Switch. Going to have dual stick controls, newly improved visuals. Metroid Prime is one of those. It's one of those games like that I played during my sort of formative years in terms of igniting my interest for gaming. I think it's a near perfect game. You can actually get it's available digitally now. They're going to release a physical version of it a little bit later.
Cool. Okay.
I think that if you have any, like, again, this will be a Switch exclusive, but if you have any interest in sort of FPS adventure, that kind of stuff, it's so fucking good. It's not an overly difficult game. It's relatively straightforward.
And if you want to avoid achievements and
yeah, exactly,
being addicted to like completing games.
Yeah, if you just want like this is one of those games that, again, well before achievements were out. When
you don't have access to your Xbox.
Exactly, it's be a great travel game.
Yeah.
When I did the original one on the GameCube, I did everything in that game. I got all the scans, got all the upgrades. Like it's a Metroidvania, but in first person.
Cool. Okay.
I mean, obviously, because Metroid is the creator of the genre.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's great because we didn't think we were going to get any news about this. So it's a game that was very ahead of its time. And has so many little light touches in there that I'm really hoping that they do this remaster justice.
Yeah.
It was basically during that Halo killer time when the original Halo came out, which really was like 20 years ago.
Don't remind me.
Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, which we've talked about before, basically got delayed potentially because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So they've basically quietly said that they've finished it and it's going to be coming out. I played the original Advance Wars back in the day. They're great games. This reboot looks okay. If you're into that kind of stuff, it's sort of turn-based tactics. Yeah, looks all right. I don't care about that. There's a new Kirby game coming out, 2D. It's it's a remake of the sort of the Wii one from Dreamland.
Yeah.
Which was a great little game from 2011. Definitely try it. There's a new Bayonetta sort of thing going on, which is very strange. It's not like your traditional Bayonetta game. It's a like Muppet Baby style Bayonetta. It's very strange.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't
if
really
you want to like get new things out of the franchise.
I guess so. I don't know. I mean, like it looks like they just. It looks like they were making an Alice in Wonderland game and they just skinned Bayonetta onto it. So I don't know. Hey,
it's Bayonetta. She's like sexy librarian assassin. Like
yeah, and now she's like kind of chibi. This one I am very excited for. Sorry, yes. David has pointed out there's a little indie hit coming out called The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested in that. It looks like
funny there, especially considering it was like not allowed to be released on the Queen's death day.
It looks really good. I mean, like it looks like more of the same, but it looks like they've also chucked in Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts in there to build stuff, so you can like build cars and things. I mean, yeah, like I'm sure it'll get 9s and 10s across the board because they always do.
Because it's also Zelda, so like
I mean, I say that as someone who loves Zelda. But yeah, the one that I'm actually very excited for.
Zelda Racing. Yep, Cameron.
Yeah. Is Master Detective Archives Rain Code.
Rain Code. What's that one about?
It is the latest release from Spike Chunsoft.
Okay.
The ones who do Danganronpa and AI Somnium Files and all that sort of stuff. Has that absolute art style to it.
AI Somnium Files, so
yeah. So it is a new game from them. And it's a detective mystery where you play an amnesiac trainee detective who's haunted by ghost creatures. So it's going to be one of those games.
Cool.
It also features something called post-cognition, which is basically also known as remembering things.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, right. So yeah, it looks like it's going to take sort of, again, I think it's only announced for Nintendo at this point, but I'm sure it'll get ported because those games tend to.
Probably.
I'm hoping it comes to Game Pass at some stage because, again, I love Spike Chunsoft. I've played just about everything they've ever put out.
Yeah.
So definitely looking forward to that. There's also a new Disney game coming out, Disney Illusion Island, which looks like it's going to be like a 4-player co-op platformer.
Okay.
Has kind of looks like it has art style like similarities to like Cuphead.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, looks really cool actually. We don't really know too much about it yet.
Whether it'll stay like, is that cross-platform at all potentially?
Not sure yet. It's coming out in July.
Okay.
So we'll see. I think it is coming out to multiple platforms.
Okay. Well, we can keep an eye on it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like I've enjoyed I enjoyed Cuphead quite a bit.
Yeah.
A few other bits and pieces, that kind of stuff. Actually, I'm just gonna see if it's I don't know if it's announced for anything else yet. But people have talked about how it kind of looks like sort of the Rayman style like platformer.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be worth I'm definitely interested in checking it out if it comes to Xbox.
Cool.
Pikmin 4 got announced, which looks great. I know Cameron's very excited about that. We've already talked about Tears of the Kingdom. Xenoblade Chronicles is getting an update. There's a game called Fashion Dreamer, which we could just move on from. Tron Identity looks really interesting. It's a sort of decision-based adventure, like sort of visual novel-y kind of style, which is like made by Mike Bethel, who I believe did Thomas Was Alone, and Volume and a bunch of other really interesting games. I like his development style.
Those ones are pretty cool. I do like Thomas Is Alone is quite an interesting one.
This game looks great. It looks like right up my alley. I love Tron. I love those sort of story-based decision games. I'm very curious to see kind of what happens with it and where it comes out.
Cool.
Ghost Trick, which is a classic DS game. Basically about you being someone who dies.
Okay.
And you basically become the phantom detective, and you basically have to go through and, as a ghost, manipulate things in the world to try and make things happen, to try and set up like a Rube Goldberg machine of things to like trigger off each other.
I kind of like love that because like, how many games have I played now that I'm like playing as a dead person or a ghost, or like I've played a few of them, so I'd be in on that.
Yeah. It's made by the same guy who does the Ace Attorney games. And it was
Okay.
that kind of time when it came out. I fucking love that game. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Also, it has an amazing dance in it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, like Capcom reference the dance every now and then in some of their games. And there's also a very cute dog in it.
Oh,
Um,
we like
Dead Cells
animals
is
in games.
yeah. Dead Cells is getting the Return to Castlevania DLC, which we talked about a little bit ago. So they showed a bit more of that. It looks fucking cool.
Cool.
There is a game called Deca Police, which I don't know what the
Deca
fuck's going on in it. It's very strange. Harvard just turned into a cat is apparently some of the dialogue. So,
Huh. Okay.
Splatoon 3 is getting some DLC. Fire Emblem is getting an expansion. Harmony Fall of Reverie looks really, really good. So it's a visual novel that sort of has you between two worlds in a near future environment. Made by Don't Nod, the people who are the original developers for Life is Strange.
Okay.
It looks really, really good. Like 100% my kind of game. So
Yeah.
I'm keeping an eye on that. Octopath Traveler 2 got shown off. They're putting out a demo now. I'm playing the first one at the moment, so I'm curious to see where this one goes. And then they also announced that We Love Katamari Reroll Plus Royal Reverie Edition is coming out, which is the much loved sequel to the original Katamari game, which got re-released a couple years ago into Game Pass. It is so We Love Katamari. So basically, the story behind this was when the creator made the I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. Made the original Katamari as the strangest fucking thing where you just roll things up in a room and then in a house and then in a city and then on a planet and then stars and all that kind of shit and just rolling things up. It's a metaphor for capitalism.
Really? Are you sure about that one?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So he basically got like everyone was like, "This game's amazing. You need to make a sequel." And he's like, "No. I just made this one interesting thing. I just kind of want to move on." And he's like, "Come on, make a sequel." Like, fine. And he makes We Love Katamari, which is like even better. It is a fantastic upgrade to the genre. I highly recommend it. I'm hoping that I'm hoping this remaster or this does well and that they've kind of fixed a few bits and pieces because it is an old game from the PlayStation era, PlayStation 2. But yeah, I'm super excited, and this is definitely coming to Xbox.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that leads us into our next one, which is that We Love Katamari remaster rolling into Xbox in June.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about, Charlotte.
I know. That's why I'm like, okay.
And what else have we got there? I think that's
pretty much it for what we'd be interested in.
Pretty much it. They've got a few other bits and pieces. There's some interesting. There's a game called Omega Strikers where it's soccer, but the ball's on fire. There's a bunch of Nintendo are getting a bunch of Game Boy games for their service, which is great. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like again, they showed off a lot of stuff here. Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD remaster, which again, if you're not a huge JRPG fan from that era, you probably won't give a shit, but I am hugely excited about it. Again, I'm hoping some of this stuff comes to multi-platform at this stage because Nintendo kind of, obviously, they have a bit of a stranglehold on this sort of JRPG stuff. I'm really hoping that we get a bit more of it, but we'll see. Anyway, that's enough Nintendo bullshit for now. Should we get into the Game Pass updates?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I've got them in here. So last week we had Madden NFL 23 get added via EA Play, and they've also added SD Gundam Battle Alliance, which I might check out. We'll see. Cool. February 14th, we've got Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord coming out, which is very popular. We've got City Skyline Remastered coming out February 15th. We've got Shadow Warrior 3 coming out February 16th, and we've got Atomic Heart February 21st. I'm very excited to play Shadow Warrior 3 and Atomic Heart.
Atomic Heart looks amazing.
Yes. Depending on how that game goes.
It does look amazing, yeah.
Yeah, and Hot Wheels, yes. Hot Wheels has been added with their 1,000 DLCs, as David points out. Yes, they got added last week. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to play Shadow Warrior 3 because it's been out for a little bit, and it's like a 6 to 8 hour game, and it's got relatively good reviews. I know that each one of those games has actually been quite different. And I never got around to playing the second one, but the third one looks good. And then yeah, Atomic Heart, like everyone seems to be very, very hyped for it. It looks like Wolfenstein meets Bioshock, which I think is great. I'm probably going to jump on it straight away. We'll see. Might be, depending on how the story is, might be a spoiler cast in the future for it, depending on if it's kind of got that narrative focus to it. But we shall see. I don't know. Are you going to play it, Charlotte?
I will probably play it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's on my list of games to play. I want to. It looks amazing. Yeah.
You want to get into our leaderboard?
Yeah, we'll just throw in this question that we got from Angel as well.
Yeah.
What are
Sorry,
your
yes.
thoughts on the Xbox 360 store having some games start to be removed from the marketplace? Microsoft denying and removing 360 closure announcements for May, claiming it was an error. Do you think there will be more, or is the 360 seeing its closing coming in the coming years?
Oh. I mean,
probably
yes,
getting to its lifetime limit. So yes.
Yeah. I mean, like as someone who's worked in the tech space, right?
They're going to start pushing people to next year.
Yeah, and like it seems like they have like even if you've gone on like the Microsoft Store, for example, they've moved a lot of that stuff over from the original 360, like the online, like the web version of the store where you can go and buy stuff. They've moved everyone over to this new Windows style thing. But there is some stuff that I'm assuming they just can't move, or they don't have the license for, or they can't sell anymore, and they kind of just were like, well, we need to sunset these servers at some stage, or this this platform that it's built on that was built in 2005. Yeah, I can definitely see it. I'm hoping that we don't see like mass closures, because again, for like game preservation and all that kind of stuff is not great.
Yeah. And especially because we like ideally we want them to start moving a bit more into backwards compatibility before they start completely getting rid of everything, right? Like hopefully they still allow that to go through.
Yeah, I would really hope so. I mean, there was some talk around like there's a new emulator for the 360 that might make things easy to make backwards compatible.
I did see that, yeah.
But there are some stuff that will just be lost to time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I'm not thrilled about it. I have pretty much everything on that list that I'm interested in, but I know I'm not the typical consumer. Yeah, it's not great. It also comes from. I think it also
like it makes sense when you're getting to that 10-year mark. That's kind of like, well.
Yeah, well, I mean, like exactly, and I think
how
that
long should a game be floating around for? That's the question.
Well, almost 20 years at this point.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's a question of like, yeah, the orange box is like 16 years old. And I think that also comes from an era where online game preservation wasn't really a thing back then. Like, I mean, like obviously on PC a little bit, like Steam has that sort of history in it, and you have like good old games. But like on the Xbox, I'm sure that when they built this stuff, they didn't really think about like what it was going to look like in 20 years, right?
No, they would not have thought about that at all. Like,
whereas I think like now that like Xbox is a more established brand, backwards compatibility has become more of a thing. They kind of have a bit more of a holistic view on like generations. I feel like a lot of the stuff that's come out today, as opposed to, like, again, you've got like the live service stuff and online service and things that will be switched off by companies. But like as availability goes, I feel like a lot of the stuff that's out now will be around for a lot longer.
Yeah.
Because they've kind of got more of a focus on it.
Yeah. Which makes more sense, right?
Yeah. I mean, if they could keep selling these games, I'm sure they would, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I, like as a concept, I'm not thrilled by it, obviously.
No, fair.
Especially as someone who tends to play older games.
It's because you're old, mate.
It's true. I'm fucking creaking at the joints. I had to go see a physio. That's never a good sign. Charlotte, you want to talk about what you've been playing?
We'll do leaderboard first, and then we'll go.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So in third place we have Kamikisu, who has done 11,400 in the last week, and then McLovin Legend in second place with 14,375, and then in first place again is Thrash Forever with 16,265.
I don't understand how Thrash keeps finding time for this stuff.
Must be full-time job. Just
I guess so. Jesus.
I mean, I think we all wish we could do as much gaming as that, but
Yeah. All right. So what have you been playing this week?
This week I have basically just been playing one game, and I am going to talk about it regardless of the controversy around it, because I think it's still worth talking about. And I don't agree with like bullying someone just because of a game that they're playing. I don't think that is fair.
Agreed.
Especially when it's something that's so closely tied to like childhood and memories and that kind of stuff. I understand where people are coming from with Hogwarts Legacy. I get it. I do. But I don't agree with how it's being done and the boycotting against people and not just a person. Do you know, like,
yes,
individuals
100%.
playing it. Like, it should be their choice. It shouldn't be like, I shouldn't feel bad for wanting to play a game that I have been waiting for my entire life. I still don't like J.K. Rowling. To me, she doesn't exist as a person. Like, I don't buy into anything that she does. I don't buy anything Harry Potter or Hogwarts related anymore. This was a gift for me for Christmas. So, like, I'm kind of like, okay, this is not too bad. But I'm going to talk about the game because, wow. This is the game I've been waiting for. Like, it is actually fantastic. There are still issues with it. It's not perfect. I don't know that it will be. But it has so many great things going for it. Absolutely great things going for it. And I kind of am at the stage where I'm like, well, if you can get it secondhand, if you can like go in with someone else and buy it together to like minimize buying it individually. Like, I'd find ways of boycotting it without like everyone go out and buy it. I don't want that.
I mean, look, I mean, I'll come out and say that, like, look, I don't think we should punish the developers for this game for making a fantastic game by not buying it.
Exactly. I'm kind of on the, I'm in two minds. Like, I don't want her to get the money from royalties. I still want them to get money for the developers and the people that worked on it so fucking hard. But I don't want her to get royalties. It really pisses me off. I wish she was like, I wish she was cut out of the whole process, but unfortunately she's not. She should be though. Anyway, the game is amazing. I'm just gonna go there and say it. It is fantastic. If you still feel inclined to not play it, just don't play it. That's how it is. But I love it. The gameplay is actually quite good. So at the moment I'm playing it on easy. So I decided not to just do story. I was like, I'll play it on easy. It's got 4 difficulty levels. So there's story, easy, medium, and hard. Like your stage levels, which is great. And I'm probably going to go through and play it again, and do it on hard after I've done it this time around. I can see myself playing this multiple times because the coolest thing about it is there's different houses, right? You have your 4 houses: Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, Slytherin, and Gryffindor, and they all have different side quests. Some of them have the similar ones, but some have like some that are just that house. And Gryffindor has the most side quests. Ravenclaw has the least amount of side quests. And discovered that Hufflepuff has a side quest to go to Azkaban.
Oh, okay.
Not the house that I thought would have had it. So, you know, we'll see. Like, the gameplay itself is very simple, which I kind of like because there's more story. So you want to go around and it's like lots of quests, and there's a bunch of fetch quests. But when you go and do them, you kind of don't feel like they're fetch quests because you're kind of looking around Hogwarts and you have to go and like use Accio to go and get things from up high, and then you find all the field guide pages around, and you have to do the same thing and like use your spell to get them to your book.
Right.
There was one where I had to go into the lake, so you have to swim into the lake, and I'm like, oh, what am I gonna find? But like running around this open world Hogwarts, I was starting it by going and doing some of the quests and like looking for things that they wanted me to go and look for, and like participating in the classes and things like that. And then at some point yesterday I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna go and wander around.
Yeah.
I'm just going to wander around. So I literally went around and just ran through the forest towards Hogsmeade. So there's there's actually 3 maps, right? So there's a map for Hogwarts itself,
Mm-hmm.
which is really easy to use, and it has pinpoints. So there's like flag areas, which are the main zones, and you can click on them, and then when you go onto them, there's smaller ones, and it's all connected by like so flue powder essentially. So they have flue points, and once you've discovered them, that's then unlocked for good, and you can use them and fast travel to that point at any point. You don't have to be near one to use it.
Oh, that's handy.
So you can literally go into the map, click on it, and go. It's so quick to get across the map. I love that. I love when they do that. I don't know if this is going to be part of like the harder levels, but when you track a quest, you've got because the whole thing is based on, you have a book with you, and that has everything stored into this book. The book you can press a button on your keypad, on your controller, and it will shoot out a trail, and you follow this trail of golden light.
Right.
Tracking it. And I'm like, that is fantastic. For ADHD me, who struggles to look at the mini-map, I'm like, this is amazing. I now have a visual tool to track where I'm supposed to go. So I was doing that quite a bit, and then I just run through the map and just run. I've been playing it in the Hogwarts map, and then yesterday I did the bigger. So I went out into the forest, and Hogwarts and then Hogsmeade have their own separate maps, and then there's one map for the entire thing.
Right. All the surrounding area.
Yes, and you can literally walk and run from Hogwarts to Hogsmeade.
Wow.
And then there's an entire map that goes down the back, and it's all just land.
Wow.
It's huge. I'm not even kidding. I can't explain what I saw yesterday. I was like, I need to take a photo of this somehow, or film it, because it's huge, and I did not expect it to be that big. And it's all open world, and the fact that it is fully open world and still runs reasonably smoothly is like, what the hell? I'm really impressed with it so far. Yeah, it's close to up to 100 if you're gonna do everything, I think, David.
Yeah.
100 hour completion, I think, is what they're estimating.
I saw it sort of 60 to 80, no missable achievements.
Yeah.
But you do need to play through the beginning of each of the 4 houses.
Yeah, because you have to get to the common room for each house.
So
which is
2
fine.
hours each.
Yeah, it's not hard at all, because you're just going through the opening section. And you can do that relatively quickly. It's not difficult at all. But this is going to be a game that I'm going to be playing for years. I will continue to play this and play this and play this, and probably go through and run through it in each of the different houses at full run. The only minor things that I'm small things, because you've got the 2 different styles, and I find this interesting because they've got it on console. There is a setting for performance, so you can choose performance, which has increased frame rate, or you can choose fidelity. And fidelity comes in 2 options. There's just normal fidelity, which is just looks beautiful, or fidelity with ray tracing.
That's going to slow that shit down a lot.
It does. I noticed it wasn't actually too bad. It just, when you're running, so there's walking speed, running speed, and then full out sprinting. When you're sprinting around, like I do, because I'm just going to run around, it does slow it down a lot and gets a bit jittery.
Right.
I also noticed that there's a couple of little bits and pieces that the cloak would turn inside out, so you could see the lining
right
from the outside, and that's not right. But just when you're running and stuff like that, and I went, okay, cool. But that is also, again, performance, and I'm just testing it out now in performance to see what the difference is, because I played around with that was with fidelity, and this is and the ray tracing, I'm like, okay, it was cool, but it was very cloudy, so I haven't really experienced what it would look like with real nice, when the lights are actually coming through, and especially when I've seen the ray tracing on Cyberpunk, I'm like, okay,
yeah,
that's what I want to see. If I get that with the nice glowing rainbows through or something like that, I'd be like, oh, So I'm going to see what it looks like once I've played it a little bit more. The spells are actually not too bad. It is about 25 spells. You're right, David. But they're actually very useful. And the system that they have is that you can change them out once you start to learn them.
Oh, okay.
Which is very cool. And it's very easy to swap them out. You
Gotcha.
just pop into the menu and swap them out. Like, it's very, very easy.
So you have like a loadout.
Yeah. And there's technically, so they have it, the system is basically like there's two separate loadouts. You have, because on your control, let me pull it out. You've got 4
D-pad.
here on your D-pad. And so the top one is like to check your quests. The right one, you can use Revelio. And that will reveal any... So, okay, this is the other thing. Like, they've made it so much simpler. And I'm like, this is great. These are all the accessibility things that I freaking love. They have given you Revelio. So that, basically, if you press it, it does a little spell that will show you any secret things hidden within your vicinity.
Right.
And it's quite a big area that it shows you, too. So, anything that you can collect, any chests, any... field guide pages that you might need, any doors that need to be open, any hidden secret puzzles, they are all shown just by pressing this button, and you can continue to press it if you're like trying to turn around to see things. It will also ping a noise when it notices something within the spell. So that making collectibles so much easier. Like this is the gameplay and accessibility is just phenomenal. Like, if this doesn't win awards in the next year for accessibility, I would be highly surprised. They, in the very first menu that comes up, there is a menu reader, so you can turn it on. It will then read out the menu options for you within that accessibility menu and other menus. There is an option for colorblindness and other options for hearing impaired, where you can have like vibrating on the controller. You can have text to voice. There is a left hand option. You can also swap the sticks around within the menu. There's so many options.
I know I just saw they just added an arachnophobia.
Okay. I'm going to have to look into that because I'm going to need to put that on. I didn't know that. That's very cool. Okay, that's cool.
I think they just put it on the latest update.
Okay, I'll have to go and check that I've updated it. The only things that I'm like going to have to check is that currently I'm playing on my alt. Because I wanted to just test it and see how I liked it. If I liked it, then I was going to move it to my main. Mainly because I was like, that's a lot of achievements to then.
It's a big investment. I'm basically looking at the same thing. I wanted to see some guides first.
Yeah. The other thing is that I'm also going to be participating in the Valentine's relay with Dio. We have a team name. We're getting prepared. We're even having a spreadsheet date after the podcast to actually go over our game plan. So watch out, we're coming for you. Our team name, if you want to look out for us, is Aha Hog Pogchamps. All one word, all capitals.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, it's better than Aha Hog Power Couple, so you know. That was one of our other choices. Yeah, like, this game, despite the controversy around it, is amazing.
I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it. Yeah.
Despite how I feel about J.K. Rowling and her being a TERF, I think people should play it. I'm gonna separate those opinions because it's a game, and I also am like, I don't care what other people think about me, but I am still an ally. I am still openly queer myself. Like, I am not gonna hide that. I also 100% still support my trans friends, and I have multiple here, and like, I do as much as I can within the community here. So it's not like I'm playing this to hurt them or upset them. That's not my intention at all, and it would never be. So I would hope that people don't continue the bullying, because that's not okay.
Yeah,
Like,
totally agree. It's so some of the response from people has been beyond inappropriate.
yeah, and it almost is like it hurts to see it because I get that they're up in arms and they're angry and they're upset. I get that. I totally do. But don't bash other people and stoop to her level. Like that's not how this should be.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's my opinions on it now. Um I'm probably will still talk about it a little bit more, but that's kind of where I'm at the moment. If I get further into the game, I will be real open and honest about it because if there's things that I don't like about the game, I'll tell you. Like, yeah, I'm trying to be as critical as possible, but it's really hard at the moment because I've gone through like the story and I'm like, this is actually really cool. So we'll see how I go when it starts to get a little bit deeper into it because I'm kind of playing nice for this run. I'm kind of like on the I'm going to do nice things for people and I kind of want to play it nice, but I know that you can play it bad and I've seen some of the dialogue options and I'm like, oof, okay, cool. You can do like fetch quests and then not give them the item at the end. It is pretty funny. And I know exactly what Dio's going to do when he plays it. He's going to do the opposite of me and be like the meanest person out there. So it'll be interesting to see how people go with this. And I'd love to hear people's opinions on it as well. Yeah.
I've got it on the list. I'm going to be playing it probably in the next month or so.
You should do it after me.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it for me this week. I've been a little bit consumed by it.
Cool. So last week we talked about stuff leaving Game Pass, so that's been most of what I've been working on. So I got Crossfire X done. I finished up Last Kids on Earth and the Start of Doom, which it was fine. Relatively painless, good podcast game.
Yeah.
I also did Recompile.
Yes.
Yeah, which is basically you basically put into a computer program and it's a sort of combat platformer where you kind of 3D go around. Wasn't sure what to expect. It's pretty straightforward. You solve a couple of puzzles, you get some abilities, you shoot things. It's quite short. It's like maybe 4 or 5 hours. There are multiple endings. So you just have to replay the last little bit over and over again just to get them. But I actually quite enjoyed it. It's a little bit frustrating. It's a little bit janky. But it's a fun little experience. I just direction-wise, it's quite easy to get lost. So there's like a video guide that'll show you everything you need to know. But I was able to do like 90% of the game on my own and just figure out things. And I went to the video guide just for cleanup.
Cool.
But yeah, it's good actually. I know some people were a little bit hesitant to play it because it has like a relatively high ratio and a lot of guides or completions. But I think most people will be fine, especially if you listen to the show. I don't think there'd be any issues. I got Bard's Tale Trilogy done. Yeah, that's it's an old game. It's a really fucking old game.
Is. Yes.
So like I spent I got to like the end of the story and then spent like 2 hours grinding at like right before the final boss just to get powerful enough to kill him. It's fine. The TA walkthrough is really, really good. You can follow that and you shouldn't have any problems. It took me about just over 20 hours. It was about 21 hours with the grinding. Okay. You could probably do it maybe a little bit more efficiently, but it's definitely not like the 60 to 80 hour that people are saying. It's much closer to that sort of 20-hour mark. Also did the new update for Vampire Survivors. That took about half an hour. It's a new level. That's pretty much it. There isn't really much else to it. I also ran through Proteus. Which is it's a boomer shooter. Heavily inspired by Doom. Has a really interesting kind of pixely art style but not like super pixely, but has like a filter on it. Plays really well. It's like jumping around shooting things, but you can play 99% of the game on very easy. And get pretty much all the achievements. But you do have to get 100% on each level, so it means you got to find all the secrets, kill every enemy, not die. It's not too bad. Like again, I'm playing on very easy. There was only like one level that I kind of got a little bit stuck on that I had to replay a few times.
Yeah, how is the not die?
Easy. You'll be like if you're playing on very easy, it's super simple. The enemies basically almost shoot themselves in the head.
Oh shit. Okay. Sweet.
Yeah, it's great. Like it's I had a really, really good time with it. There is one achievement for getting 100% on one level on the hardest difficulty.
Okay,
But
but can you
there's
pick that level, or is it a
yeah, you
specific
can
one?
pick that level, and you
Okay.
get to keep all your upgrades and everything. So
Okay,
like
so that's
there's
not too
like
bad.
an arena level that I picked that I just ran around and shot everything, and there's like
Sweet.
one secret in it that's really easy to find. So
Sweet.
it
Okay.
took me a couple of tries, but really straightforward. The rate it's got the classic TA ratio bloat of like
Yeah.
it's like a 3.8. Like it's way easier than that.
Cool.
It also has a bunch of community levels that people have
Okay.
set up for certain achievements. So, like, there's an achievement for getting 10,000 kills. There's one where it basically just drops enemies in front of you, you just blast them for like a couple of minutes.
Sweet.
So once you've done the campaign, you can kind of go and clean up everything else if you still need it.
Cool.
I did run into a lot of silent pops for the game though. So if you feel like you're not getting the achievement, make sure you check the list, because I was raging at there's an achievement for like getting through a level without getting hit, and you can do it on easy. And I was like, I definitely got it, but I was like, fuck, it's not showing up. And then I just checked the list to see how many achievements I had
And
left, and then I was
showed.
like, oh,
Yeah.
I've got it.
Yeah, I had another one that did that the other day. I went, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, really, really cool game. I definitely recommend it. It's like a 15 to 20 hour game. It took me like 21 hours. I could definitely do it a little bit quicker than that. Yeah, I like the style. There's a guide for all the secrets and collectibles on Steam that I recommend. It has like a picture guide that will just run you through it. You shouldn't have too many issues.
Okay.
Um,
Is it on Game Pass?
yes, it is.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're into first person shooters at all, I definitely recommend it. And then the main thing I've been working on, I was looking for a new project game. Now that I finished Bard's Tale, and decided to fire up Octopath Traveler, which, if you don't know, is a game that came out a few years ago on Switch from Square Enix. Typical sort of JRPG format, turn-based combat, with a really beautiful pixely kind of art style, that the kind of thing that they've been moving into for the last few years. The kind of conceit is that there are 8 different characters, and they each have individual stories, and you basically pick your first character, play through their first chapter of their story, and then go around the world finding the next person and then playing their first chapter. You don't necessarily have to do it in that order. You can actually like do it like chapter 1, 2, 3, 4 for one character and then move on, but the scaling is all kind of fucked. So you basically want to start collecting your party. It reminds me in terms of like format of, and this is going to be a bit of a deep cut, Seiken Densetsu 3, which is, I believe, Legend of Mana. So Secret of Mana was a game that came out on the Super Nintendo back in the day. And then there was a Japanese sequel to it called Legend of Mana, where basically you basically picked 3 characters from like a starting 8, and then you basically played their stories and met up with each other. It was only the 3. This kind of has like a similar format. My only real issue with it is that the story has been kind of, I mean, I'm playing through like the intros for all of these characters because I want to collect them all before I get really deep into it.
Okay.
But I just kind of feel like I'm playing the same kind of boring intros. They're not super interesting. I'm hoping that the characters get a bit more fleshed out as the game goes on. But so like I played like a scholar who gets who finds out like one of his guys has been stealing books and trying to do dark magic. And so like one of the books that you're looking for has gone missing. So you basically go on a quest to find it. I have someone who is a dancer, quote unquote, quote unquote dancer. Yep. What? Let me put it this way: when she finally stands up to her master, she tells him to go pleasure himself, which is like I was like okay, so you wanted to say go fuck yourself, but Square wouldn't let you do it. But I was like, wow, okay, this is like actually it gets into some stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, she's like formerly of a noble house, and her father was murdered, and she's trying to hunt down the people, so she's like undercover.
Okay.
I found like an alchemist, who's like who wants to be like a traveling alchemist to try and cure the world.
Cool.
It's relatively like typical JRPG stuff.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it gets a bit more interesting and complex. I know that like you get like different jobs in terms of like they start off with like the Cyrus, the scholar, basically is your like black mage, so it's like fire, ice, lightning. But I know that they can kind of get different jobs as the game goes on, so you can kind of swap them out and build up their abilities and kind of cross pollinate them, so they can do like it's like, yeah, I've got this ability from this class, but I've also got I'm like multi-classing, so I can use this ability from this because I've learned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm enjoying it so far. I'm only like 10 hours in. So again, for like an RPG like this is a 100-hour game. Um, it's going to be a little bit. It hasn't David points out, started Octo but never really gelled with it. I'm kind of feeling that it's not a bad game by any means, but it hasn't grabbed me yet. I'm
And you
hoping
do
that it
have a
will.
walkthrough to walk to
Yes,
do
yeah,
it.
now, yes. There was
It's
TA
a
just
guide.
posted a walkthrough, a guide last month, which is sort of why I was starting this. The other reason is that it was added to Game Pass last year, the year before in
So it's
March.
probably gonna
Yeah,
out.
it's probably going to be on the chopping block coming up relatively soon. So getting a head start
We're
on it might
estimating
not
that
be.
anyway.
Yeah. I mean, either way, it's been on my playlist for ages, so I figured now's as good a time as any. But that's pretty much it. I guess I'm probably going to be playing more of that, and then after that, maybe Hogwarts Legacy. We'll see how things go.
Yeah.
You want to talk about completions?
Yes. I just need to get the right channel, and we're gonna just do it a slightly different way today because they're all in this one channel. So I'm just gonna read them out, and we might get double ups for people's names, but that's fine. Let me just scroll up. Because normally we correlate them, but it's been a busy week. Work has been very busy. So 28. There's a lot in this channel. We have a lot of completions. This is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, starting here, we have Drunken Monkeys with Loot River, Vobolt with The Walking Dead, Shadowless Edge with Gungrave Gore, David with Who's Your Daddy, and that's the title updates. Yeah, with the title updates. And then we have Saint Yates with Evil West. The Moonzom completed Gungrave Gore. Just Jake SD completed High on Life. Astrodark completed Middle Earth Shadow of War and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Mikhail KV finished Gotham Knights. Happy Moogles with GoldenEye 007. Which is pretty cool. The Moon's On with Limb Hunter and Banjo Tooie, and then Mushroom Survivor and Flasco Man. So someone was playing some trash. Super Bob completed Flat Out Ultimate Carnage. Rapture completed Signalis. The Moonzom completed Corgan. Rapture with Eerie. And more Eerie. And then Vobolt with The Walking Dead Season 2. Moonzom back in there again with Asuna's Wrath. Frost with Tomb Raider Definitive Edition and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Firehawk D with Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo. That is at the end of the month. Reactor X for the Moonzom. Crucible 101 with SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Shadowless Edge with Rumbleverse. Neomaster with Rumbleverse.
Yep.
Kirby with Rumbleverse. Rapture with Escape String. I don't know what that is. No, he's just done a bunch of trash baby games.
All trash.
Should have known. Shadowless Edge with GoldenEye 007. Chin Doctor with GoldenEye 007. Valak C with Besieged. More trash from Rapture. Frost with High on Life and Metro Exodus. Super Bob with Rumbleverse. Rapture with the new Cruise Brothers title update and the gallery. And Rumbleverse. David with Metal Hellsinger. The Moon's On with Lost and Random. Saint Yates with Star Trek Prodigy Supernova. The Moon's On with Besieged. Vobolt with The Walking Dead New Frontier. Firehawk D with Endling. Extinction is Forever. And
that looks really good.
Yeah, it does look really cool. David with Rabio and Castle Walker. Chin Doctor with Black Mirror. Galaxy with Rumbleverse. And Recompile. Just Jake with Infernax. Super Bob with Crossfire X. Astrodark with Vampire Survivors, although now they will have to do more title update. Moon's On with Medal of Honor Airborne. Frost with Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Vobolt with another The Walking Dead final season. Rapture with Besieged. Galaxy with Infinix. Firehawk D with Quantum Conundrum. Drunken Monkeys with Salt and Sanctuary. Crucible 101 with 69,000 gamer score.
Of course.
Nice. Natolinator with The Last Kids on Earth and the Staff of Doom. Baron von Neumann with Strange Brigade. Firehawk D with Sharon's Staircase. Valak C with The Last Kids on Earth and the Staff of Doom. Aptos with The Ascent. We've got a lot of completions in here, eh?
Mm.
David with Metal Hellsinger. David with Data. Firehawk D with Overwatch 2 and Human Fall Flat, the newest update. David with Peachy Boy. Moonzone with Pixel Gladiator. I'm just gonna ignore the trash from now. Let's skip all the trash.
No one needs to see
everyone's the trash. Okay, everyone's completing the end of Game Pass games. Firehawk D with Sonic and Knuckles. That's a decent.
Yeah, for some reason I don't. Yeah, it's a
cool. And a 3,700 day streak for achievements, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's doing well for himself.
Yeah, he really is. Who else? Oh, the Moon's on with Ark. Firehawk D did Doctor Who, The Lonely Assassins. Oh, that's Vampire Survivors. Saint Yates with Marvel's Avengers, and then the Moon's on with Plants vs Zombies. And there we go. We're up to date. Whew.
Well done. Lot of good completions over the last couple of weeks. People have been real busy.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
Fair. All right. Well, let's get into the word challenge. So I have come up with a new clue. So if you don't know what the word challenge is, basically each week I give a clue to a game that I've created a GIF for with our bot. And there is a channel on our Discord, discord.io/horrorgamers. And if you guess what the game is, you win some money. And so the clues are in order of completely unhelpful to basically giving it away. So the first clue was that the first clue was Australia. And as David says, no, it is not The Witness. You can guess The Witness in there, but it is not The Witness.
It's definitely not The Witness.
It's definitely not The Witness. You also get one guess per hour.
People who guess The Witness get a slap on the hand.
Yeah, they also get another GIF. So the first clue was Australia. It's a very unhelpful clue. And you guys are going to be really annoyed at me when you find out what the game is. The second clue is it's part of a series that's had over 4 different developers.
Okay.
It was a game that was released before 2000.
Mm-hmm.
And the new clue is that many of the playable characters in this game are based on animals.
Oh. Okay.
So, yeah, we'll see.
Oh, no.
So we'll see. I'm very curious to see what people think. If you know how my mind works, you've probably got a couple of ideas. But be careful. Think long and hard, because if you start guessing stuff, people are going to start cluing into you. So
I'm just going to wait till real late at night when no one's watching.
Exactly. Do your homework. Think about all the clues. Put up your corkboard. Yep, animals is the clue, Cameron. So good luck to everyone. I'm very curious to see what kind of guesses we get. I'm hoping we get some good ones.
Okay. All right. Cool.
So Patreons.
Yes.
We've got our wonderful Patreons. We have patreon.com/horrorgamers is the place where you can come and support us. Give us some money so we can afford to pay for Zoom and for licensing and for hosting the podcast and for our competitions and for equipment and things like that, so we can keep doing the show. Yeah. Do you want me to read out the list?
Yeah.
Charlotte?
Yeah.
So our list of supporters, we've got Lee Howard, we've got Mikhail KV, we've got Chapters, the Natolinator, Firehawk, Mad Lefty, G-Spaceman, Admiral Awesome, Keo, Happy Moogles, Kung Fu Skills, Hack and Pone, Cavalier 07, Old Mate Clown, Mark B, and McLovin Legend. Thank you guys very much for your support. We will greatly appreciate it, and we could not do the show without you.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's probably going to kind of bring us towards the end of the show. Like I said, we've got our Discord, discord.io/HallOfGamers, where you can come hang out with us in our community. We've got a questions channel in there where you can ask questions about for the show, like Isaac does. We've got the word challenge. We've got stuff to do with the podcast itself. We've got some more sort of random channels around gaming in general. We've got a meme channel. Come hang out and say hi.
We also have a pets channel. That's pretty ideal. The pets channel is very nice.
And we also do the show live on Twitch, like we said. Right now, we're recording this live. So Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to come find us. You can hang out in the chat like David has and ask us questions like Angel did.
Yep.
Otherwise, you can email us, hallofgamerspodcast@gmail.com. Twitter is @hallofgamerspod. Otherwise, subscribe to us to your platform of choice. Leave us a review. We greatly appreciate all of our friends and supporters. And you can write questions in anywhere. Now, Charlotte. If you want to be found, what are your details?
Okay, I'm on Discord under the Char with many names. I am on Twitter under AudreyChar. I am on Xbox under AudreyChar. I have my own Patreon as well, for wholesome, spicy content, because that's just a thing. And otherwise, just, I'm around.
Cool.
What about you, Matt? Where are you found?
Neomaster on everything, True Achievements, Xbox, and Discord as always. Although I don't know why you would want to get in contact with me. I'm pretty antisocial. All right, well, that's going to wrap up this episode 68. We will probably not be doing an episode next week.
Well, depending on weather and things. But
yeah, depending on the weather.
Trip, and I can't exactly do the show on my own.
Yes, so depending on if my work trip is cancelled or not due to the inclement weather, we may have a show next week. Otherwise, I have recorded a special spoiler cast episode with a good friend of the show that will be coming out at some stage. That might be next week. So stay tuned. I will have updates in the Discord for all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But thank you all for joining us. We will catch you guys next week. See you later.
Bye.